afternoon and welcome to Today at the Races and welcome back to Laurel Park. It's a lovely fall afternoon.
It's gorgeous.
And a lot to celebrate. We have a lot of carryovers today.
Yeah, we do have some carryovers. Pick six, we talked about it yesterday. These races are tough. They're not easy. And
hats off to you, though. Huh?
Yeah, hats
Your
off to
late
me
pick
for my
four ticket
stupidity of
hit.
not playing my late pick four. Yeah.
Well, you were right there, and it returned. The late pick four returned $3,500, and this man right here gave it out. So you better listen to him
shame on
this
you
morning.
if you didn't play it. Yeah.
And you and I were talking after the races yesterday a little bit about some of these tickets that we put up. And a lot of the time, if you combine forces, if you and I combine forces, or Stan and I combine forces, even Vinny, who has been a co-host, a guest co-host on the show a couple of times, you hit maybe a ticket a weekend.
Yeah, and you're hitting them, and
Which
we
is
don't.
hard.
And the good thing is I work with everybody here. We've got the same kind of MO. We don't want to sit here and give a bunch of chalk out or anything like that. We want you to get the bang for your buck. You get it here daily anyhow. The races are that tough. So yeah, I mean 3,500 yesterday. I know Vinny a couple 5,000. You guys one for 20. They're out there, thousands of dollars. We're not talking hundreds of dollars. We're talking about tickets that can carry you for a while. So hopefully somebody's paying attention. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can have some similar success this afternoon. I really like the card. I thought the early pick five is kind of tricky, but once you get into the pick six and the pick five, I do think it's manageable. Maybe trying to find that single so that you can spread in other legs of the sequence. So I did want to take this moment to mention to everybody that we will, a week from today, will be the Fall Festival of Racing. So make sure you come and join us. The 25th running of the DeFrancis Dash presented by Maker's Mark. Again, that is Saturday, November 19th, a special early post time at 12 o'clock noon. So come out here. It's going to be a fun day. And of course, coming up, we have the Thanksgiving Day. You can come out here and get a pie, the famous pies, with the purchase of a program. So a lot of fun stuff coming up here. Keith, excuse me. As we get to the carryovers this afternoon, I wanted to talk about the featured wagers in our carryovers. Race 1 starts at Rolling Super High Five, $980 and change. The Rainbow Six, that continues to grow, over $11,000 for that carryover. That starts in race 4, and the late pick 5, a nice little carryover of $23.65 and change. And Keith, you took a stab at the late pick 5 ticket. Yeah. I took a look at the pick 6 and the early pick 5, and now we go out to our track and weather conditions, and it was a little brisk this morning, but it's warming up quite nicely with the sun. You can see the fall foliage in the background, and still that beautiful green turf course is just awaiting some nice priced horses, I think.
Oh, certainly. We saw it yesterday, a really good ride by one of our, was it Katie Davis yesterday? Yeah, on a $60 horse. I mean, speed yesterday on this turf course was pretty good. So we're going to take note of that on today's card. Hopefully it kind of continues that way, because that's the way I'm angling a lot of my selections for this afternoon's racing card. The dirt course yesterday kind of favored it was a little bit of a wide kind of a trend throughout the card. So I'm going to also kind of keep a close eye on the way that dirt course is playing.
Okay, and then we have 9 races on tap. Start everything at 12:30 p.m. fast and firm on the turf. So we kick it off with today's opener. That is race 1, non-winners of 2 lifetime in for that $10,000 claiming tag. This does kick off the Rolling Super High Five, 15% takeout dollar minimum with 7 or more betting interests. And of course, that early pick 5. Here is my ticket. It's cheaper than yesterday. The early pick 5 paid 3 out of 5 yesterday. So that just shows you, if you bet this and you lose, sometimes you even lose 2 races, you still probably get the money that you put into it. It returns $66, and a lot of the time we try to keep our bets around there. So $64 is going to have to do it for me. We're going to be using 4 horses, by 4 horses, by 2, by 2, by 2. And I really thought the first 2 races, they're kind of tricky. I didn't have a lot of confidence in them, so that's where I try to spread and then dwindle the ticket down in the final 3 legs of the sequence. So race 1 here, Keith, I thought multiple different ways to go. I also threw in a priced horse in there. But the 7, Just Call Me KL, wanted to quickly go back and take a look at this replay, and you can see in close quarters early, and this horse did experience some early trouble. You can see coming out of the gate, and no real trouble coming out of the gate, but going into the first turn, he was bumped from both sides and just had to steady a little bit.
Yeah, squeeze, and kind of got him off his game. He likes to be a little bit closer to the pace. He's run his best races there. My biggest concern with him today is the amount of speed in this opener, with the likes of Lovely Notion, with some serious speed. We've got a sprinter stretching out from the inside. Fuse Line, who's going to be a big price as well, has a lot of early speed. What kind of trip can Just Call Me KL go ahead and stalk?
And here we see even more trouble coming down the stretch too. But as you said, I think it was very problematic that he didn't get off to a great start. See him checking once again coming down the stretch and just kind of packing it in, the rider kind of protecting his horse after that. But you said he's a forward runner. The early trouble compromised him. We saw enough is enough. That horse was dropping in class that day. So he could get caught up in an early pace stool, but I do think he has the class to at least carry him a long way.
Absolutely. He's got relief. I mean, he faced better horses in that race. You like the little bit of a move, though, he made into the head of the stretch and just flattened late. I think he's going to be poised to stalk. I don't think it would be wise maybe to go ahead and try to go with the likes of Fuse Line or maybe Lovely Notion through that opening half of a mile. But I think he's going to get first run on those, and then he's going to have to look in the rearview mirror for the closers.
Okay, we get to the 3 Cold Spice, your top selection. And this horse, when he went the 1-turn mile on the main track, he showed a little bit of speed. Do you have a concern that he might get caught up in the
He was a little bit sharp there, out wide into it, but I like the comment. They're held well. Okay, even looks like he looked backed up 3 lengths from the 8th pole home. He was still trying to the wire. This is a horse you go way back to 2014, faced the likes of Cordier. He was a graded stakes placed runner on the grass. He's in good form. I think he's getting better with each start. I don't mind the transition back to the turf course, and you can't go wrong with Lacey Cautet right now, can you?
She keeps on winning yesterday with a victory as well. The 5 Coleman Kid, you and I both gave this horse a look. The blinkers go on second time off the shelf for trainer Robin Graham. And I thought, given the circumstances of the pace in here, I thought he would be kind of the beneficiary of it.
Yeah, just toss the last. I think the blinkers going on, keep him a little bit focused. He doesn't have much speed at all, but he has actually shown the ability to come from off the pace. So I'm going to throw him. I think he's a live long shot in here. I think you're going to get double digits on the 5 Coleman Kid. The one Spoiled by God is a horse. His sprint numbers, if this was 5.5, yeah, I'd like him. Now he's got to go all the way out to a mile and a 16th. Breeding suggests no. When I'm really kind of looking at this, I think he's going to make a move. I just don't know if he's going to sustain. Maybe you fool him once. I think he's an underneath horse today.
All right, well, that's a big question, and at least we agree on the top 4, and those are the top 4 that I used in the first leg of the Pick 5. As we turn our attention to the second, a maiden $10,000 claiming event, 5.5 furlongs on the main track, and we have some class droppers in here, one of them being the real lefty. The blinkers go on, gets Lasix for the first time. This horse, I think, is probably a must-use in those gimmicks.
Yeah, last time out, broke well, then was rated back off the speed at Delaware, and we watched his races time and time again. It's hard to close a lot of ground. Once this horse got to the outside, she came on and ran a little bit late. I know she was still 5th, beating 8 lengths, but that 3rd place finisher, Mine for Keeps, came back here and won clear with a 59 buyer for maiden special weights. My problem with the real lefty, this is a low percentage trainer just jamming a horse.
Yeah.
They usually just don't give horses away. That's my biggest concern. I'm going to use the horse, I think, to the outside, playing to the way that maybe this racetrack played yesterday with the wide movers. Sammy's Valentine's turf back to dirt's a good angle, can stalk and pounce for the Ben Perkins-McCarthy combo.
Yeah, Benny Perkins, he does, I think he's about 20% in a positive ROI with going from turf to dirt, specifically with his maiden claimer. So even though this horse is a long-time maiden, a horse that sometimes I usually overlook, it's a strong angle for the barn. But the 10, Marjorie Muggs, is another one, and I think this is a kind of a long shot that you want to throw into the mix of first-time starter. But with the barn and maiden claiming first-time starters, they've only done it a handful of times, 5 times to be specifically, but they've won with 2 of them. 1160, 1320 were both the returns.
Absolutely. This horse might want a little bit more ground. I think it took the mother a couple times to break the maiden, going a little bit longer, maybe 7/8 or a mile. But yeah, I mean, in a suspect field, this barn has pulled it off a couple times. I know it's only 5 tries, but you're going to get a price too. So I wouldn't definitely leave this horse out of my gimmicks.
Okay, that is a race we are going to have to limp through because sometimes when you get to those low-level maiden claimers, you never know what's going to happen. We get to the third and open $7,500 claiming event, 6 furlongs there onto the turf. And we have a horse that has been in extremely good form lately in the 4 Sally O'Sally, and I believe we have a stretch run here of her winning performance last out. And I thought this was especially good because I went against her that day because she drew the rail post position just kind of hard given her running style to work out a trip. But I thought Trevor McCarthy rode a perfect race, just stalking and just asking her at the right time to get up for the victory.
Yeah, I think she's going to get another good trip today. I mean, there's not a lot of speed. She's tactical enough. She dug in gamely late. He put her into a perfect spot. Was she 9 for 9 in the money on the grass with 4 wins? She holds firm late. The horse I'm going to try to pull a slight upset, maybe they turn the tables, is Ginger Beer. The 3 horse that day, the 9 horse today. Ginger Beer, we had that video a little bit late. She kind of got shuffled just a touch into the far turn, lost about 2 lengths. Once she got ramped up again and got to the outside the last 16th of a mile, she really leveled off nicely. She showed some gate speed. I think if she can avoid that trouble, that shuffling into the far turn, I think she can get a little bit closer, set her sights on Sally O'Sally by the time they hit the head of the stretch, not leaving the 8th pole.
And you get a field like this who I think 6 furlongs sometimes in the sprinter sphere is kind of the great equalizer. Some horses who really prefer maybe 5 furlongs, they just can't go the 6 furlongs. So I went with a horse. I usually don't like turnbacks on the turf, but Moral High Ground just intrigues me. And she doesn't have a tremendous amount of speed going 2 turns even on the turf, but she has sometimes been effective going 5.5 furlongs. So she just seems to me, if she does get an honest pace, which I'm not so sure that she will, she's going to be flying late, and I like her for exotics.
Oh, yeah. No, you got to like her. She just tries every time. Says she doesn't have a lot of speed. It's going to be okay pace in here. I think Lady from Cheyenne is going to go ahead and go clear this field, and then Trevor will have her sights set with Sally O'Sally. I'm gonna toss the 11 in here in all my gimmicks. A little price shot, the 8. Damon's going to shorten up, race and shine. I think comes out of some okay races. Tossed the last, broke slowly. I think the move to 6 furlongs, this distance might be just perfect for this horse today.
I know there are a couple of horses who are turning back that, again, that's kind of an awkward angle to go with. But sometimes if you have a horse like this who clearly has showed speed going 2 turns, it just gives them the ability to rate and reserve that speed a little bit. So maybe a nice long shot there in race 3. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the Rainbow Pick 6 does kick off in race 4. I'll talk you through the sequence. He'll talk you through the pick 5. He took down the late pick 4 yesterday. Let's see if he can do it again right after this.
When it comes to getting back in the game, there's only one team to turn to. The team more high school, collegiate, and professional athletes train and recover with. That team is MedStar Sports Medicine. For more than 30 years, MedStar has served as a leader in the diagnosis, treatment, and rehabilitation of orthopedic and sports-related injuries. Ranked among the top programs in the Maryland and Washington regions, we offer rapid access to athletes of all levels. Let the pros who treat the pros treat you. MedStar Sports Medicine.
Welcome back to Today at the Races. Now taking a peek at race 4. This does kick off the 20-cent Rainbow 6. And looking at our carryovers, we have a carryover in that special wager of over $11,000 today. It was a very difficult sequence yesterday, but I think today is a little bit more manageable of a sequence. And I had the ability to find a single, so that making the ticket a little bit more affordable. So we'll start things off with the 278. With the 148, just using the 8 and the 11. I like Naomi, horse that scratched yesterday off the also eligible, will run today. And I'm keen off of the 5 MC squared in race 7. I really like this horse. I love the fact that this horse is finally stretching back out to 2 turns after 2 decent performances sprinting. And that gives me the ability to really spread in the final 2 legs of the sequence. So using 4x4 for a $57.60 ticket. We'll see your late pick
Okay.
5 in the next race here, but first, race 4 kicks off that pick 6 sequence. A non-winner's a 2 lifetime claiming event, 6 furlongs there on the main track. And do want to take note, Alex Cintron there are a couple rider changes today. Alex Cintron, there was a little bit of a mishap behind the gate yesterday afternoon. He will be taking off this weekend due to a fractured toe. But speaking to his agent, Mark Mace, they aim on being back next Friday. So that is the update on jockey Alex Cintron. But we take a look here at the first leg of the pick 6, and you go to, first off the claim, the number 8, 10 Hut.
Yeah, 10 Hut. I think the big question is the 7, True Arch. Almost kind of looks too good. Looks like for sale sign. Let's go ahead and get this horse moving out of our barn.
You toss completely.
I do. I mean, he'll probably go ahead and whistle. He's the speed. Good internals last time at Delaware. But something there. It just scares me. I think 10 Hut's a horse right into the barn of Kieran. I think this is a type of horse perfect for him. A little bit tactical speed. I think you're going to see a little bit maybe more speed today. I think he can go ahead and stalk True Arch and go on by. His 3-back try at Parks was very good. Last time out was down inside for a while on what wasn't the best part of the racetrack. Then once he got outside, he kicked on nicely. I like the confidence move, taking one step up.
Yeah, it didn't look like he was really handling the surface last time out, and that was technically his first time on a wet surface. He was arguably on the worst part of the track that day too. So I think that he can definitely improve off of that performance, and so does Kieran McGee, stepping him up for that $16,000 tag. And his numbers are so strong first off the claim, even second off the claim. We were talking about it yesterday.
Yep.
If they don't fire stepping up off the claim, they immediately drop down in class. The horse was beaten at the wire, but he still ran a winning race. Big question mark with the 7 True Arch, but I will use him in the first leg of the pick 6. I don't want to get beaten by a horse like that.
Yeah, agreed.
The 6 Summer Tiger is a horse you throw into the mix.
I do. I mean, everything screams no on this horse. Off time, a big drop. Looks like he wants to go longer, but off time, we're going to drop. We're going to go short. Route the sprint's a good angle. First time gelding reported on this horse. So a late breaking gelding information. McLean Robertson's 39% with double droppers over the last couple years. Strong angle. I'm hoping some speed is up front. He doesn't look like he has any. Showing a little bit of life in the mornings, but sneaky barn, tough barn to figure, but they hit at a price. I'm not going to let him kind of get out of the mix here.
You're so right about that.
Yep.
They're a really difficult barn, especially here at this circuit to kind of figure out, but they do pop at a price. I think I like a horse of his later on in the card.
Yeah.
The 2 Iredell, I think, is one you got to use as well. Is dropping to arguably the lowest level that he's ever really faced, but he's kind of an awkward horse. Sometimes he just doesn't have that late punch, but he doesn't have enough speed to really be effective close to the pace, so he's kind of in that awkward middle ground, but maybe he can wake up on the slight drop in class.
Yeah, it was one of his better races. It was second time with blinkers last time out, as you said. He was able to close ground at Timonium, but here at Laurel, he's kind of just a chaser and really never follows through. Once again, maybe not on the best part on October 21st, was down inside, angled out, angled back in. Improving. This might be the level that kind of gets him over the top. This little drop down to 16,000. I'll use him in there. I'm going to use Grecian Prince as well. So yeah, 8629. Take a shot against the 7. Maybe if I can find a spot in some multi-race gimmicks, go ahead and throw the 7 in.
Okay, race 5 kicks off the 50-cent late pick 5. We go to the turf at the Flat Mile for this open $15,000 claimer. Keith, you took down the pick 4, the late pick 4 yesterday that returned $3,500. Can you do it again with the pick 5?
My daughter, I was talking to her last night when I got home, said, yeah, give it out. She goes, did you bet it? I said, well, unfortunately, I did not. I got caught up in stuff. I said, hit some other stuff on the day to kind of make up for it. But the deal is, she goes, that's just like you, Dad. You just give everything to everybody else. I said, well, I guess that's why we don't eat at night. But, yeah, the $60 ticket, 2 by 2 by 2. We're going to spread in race 8. I think that's a tough race with 5 and 3 in the last at 2, 3, and 7. I could not really find a single. 7th race, I'm going to hedge with the speed. Your horse MC Squared and Unbridled John. I think they run as a team maybe around the racetrack in race 7. But it's a tough little sequence.
Okay, so $60 is that ticket here. And we start things off with race 5. Keith, and who did you give the slight preference to here?
I'm going right back to the 5. I like the 8 horse, in race 5. Kara's Nene. I think this horse can really kind of do no wrong right now. She's got a target with Maya Elizabeth. Once again, talking about the race later with MC Squared, I kind of envision this as the same thing. Maya Elizabeth goes out to the front. she can, if she hits a surface like this, she's going to go a long, long way. But Kara's Nene has been running against the right kind of horses. She was competitive in 2 other dans. And now she's earned the right to go back up. She's obviously hit top stride now. I think she gets kind of stalks and bounces. And once again, those two, a lineup race around the racetrack.
And she's got the perfect type of running style to just put herself in the right place. You always really have to love these types of horses and respect their running style, because she just sits right off the pace. If she's ridden with confidence, she can definitely win this. And when she did face 2 other than company, she had some early trouble too. So she is extremely consistent. I respect her as well in terms of the multi-race sequences. The 4 Dorn, though, and Julian Pimentel picks up the mount on Dorn as Alex Cintron is off all mounts this weekend. This is the Mac Robertson horse that I liked. And last time out at Canterbury did go 7.5 furlongs. That was against conditional $20,000 claimers. Was the favorite. That was probably the right race for this 5-year-old mare. But if you look back at her races last year at Arlington, she was effective most of the time against higher level $50,000 claimers, and those were competitive fields. So I'm thinking that she has a little bit more to offer against this field from that last race.
Absolutely. You get this chill in the air. You might even push her up a little bit. You're right. You're familiar with those horses at Arlington. And you say she's right there at Canterbury in the other than 50 condition at Arlington. That should be comparable to this race. And once again, it's a barn we can't leave out. I mean, they just strike at a good rate and usually at good prices. That's the 4 Dorn. I guess possibly named after the character from Major League, the movie. Remember Dorn, the third baseman? You don't remember that? Little too, showing our age here. That was one of the great scenes. He's sitting over there fielding balls and just olaying everything. Yeah, Roger Dorn.
Okay,
right.
we get to the 3 by Elizabeth. Now, you have this 4-year-old filly in your exacta, and a good friend, Jason Blewett, once told me people like ones, and that's the case with the 3 by Elizabeth. I think, especially when you get a horse like this that has so much speed, and just she ran well last time out, not taking that against her, but sometimes she's capable of not sustaining that speed. I just thought she would be bet heavily off of the speed that she does have.
Oh, no doubt about it. And like I say, the way this course has been playing, she's going to get hammered down at 3, maybe 5-2. Maybe these 2 horses come down even lower off their odds. I just think she goes a long way. I don't see anybody. I mean, Wild Aspen Flower was showing speed at Mountaineer. I don't know if she's as quick as My Elizabeth early, but if she does get pressure, I think it's just going to set up for the 8 or maybe the 4. The one Unspoken, this is a perfect distance, I believe. The mile, she should sit a great trip coming off of that 6 furlong race last time.
And honestly, I didn't think it was that bad of a performance last time. And I mean, that was a very tough field. We saw Vielsom, who was second in a grade 3 on Preakness weekend, win that race. I mean, it was a tremendous. I can't believe she's eligible for that condition still, But that was a very, very tough race, but she is very effective going 2 turns against this type of class company, and she should be able to get a ground-saving trip to the inside, so I like her in the mix as well. We get to the 6th race, and this does kick off the late 50-cent pick 4, and we start things off in this maiden $16,000 race, 5.5 furlongs there on the main track. And talking about Naomi, this is a horse, the number 11 horse for trainer Hammy Smith. I liked her yesterday. She was first on the also eligible, didn't get into the race, so opting for this spot. I like the fact, second time blinkers, getting back to a fast track, and last time out, she was beaten by Cicella, who was dropping from restricted maiden special weight company at Saratoga.
Yeah, she's the horse to beat. She's going to be up there a long way. Had stumbled last time, made a move up into it, flattened a little bit late. I'll take a shot with the 3 Dio Perdona. I guess that's how we pronounce it, coming in off of a couple kind of a dismal tries in New York. A barn change. This barn, though, does pretty well over the last 5 years. Not a lot of them, but 3 for 6 with maidens. First time in the barn for trainer Eddie Haney. I think it's going to be all systems just go. Just try to send from the inside, clear, and go on with it.
Very well could. I'll throw in nothing is easy at a big price here for Jackie Savoy. I just like the progression of this filly's workouts, especially last time out, that nice gate workout, 8th best of 48 here at Laurel. So I'll use her in the exacta, but I think one that you have to pay attention to, I know comparably speaking, she has been running lower by her speed figures, but the 8 on the prowl, she's at least she's maintaining consistency, and she improved slightly last time out on a fast track. So if she can take a step forward off of her last race, I think she could be competitive.
This was the race, I think, Pink Cashmere race. That was the race where yesterday's runner-up came out of, I believe, and just finished maybe just behind on the prowl. So a good second there against that New York Shepard, the horse that came in the first timer for Rudy Rod. So, yeah, that makes it a key race there, October 28th for On the Prowl.
All right, we get to the 7th race, kicking off the final pick 3 of the day, a mile and a 16th on the turf, an open $25,000 event. And looking at your pick 5, looking at my pick 6, we both have respect for the 5 MC squared. You opting to go with 2 horses in this leg of the sequence with the 4 and the 5.
Yeah, I'll take the shot. Yeah, Captain's Affair, I like I said, I keep chasing him. The blinkers went on last time. He was able to kind of navigate his way through, unfortunately, a tough beat for us upstairs. But MC squared, I like to move back to stretching out. I don't like
the 5 and the 8. You went
5
8.
5 and 8.
5 8. I said 4 and 8. 5 and 8 you did in the sequence.
5 and 8. MC squared, I think, is going to be really, really tough to catch. But Unbridled Giant's got a pretty good turn of foot. He was caught wide. I don't know if he has to be wide here. Maybe he can draft in a little bit and save some ground. But he's going to be tough, I think, right back.
I think he will be tough. He was wide coming around the final turn there. But I don't know, Keith. I thought it was maybe a little bit more. I thought Captain's Affair was a little bit more game in this race, and that's why I gave him the slight preference. Maybe you could argue that the other horse, Unbridled Giant, made a bit of a premature move, whereas Captain's Affair had a very game move, and that caused him to kind of flatten out the final couple of strides. But in my opinion, I thought he only kind of got a little bit of running room late. That gave him the opportunity to make that late run, Captain's Affair, and I thought it was a stronger performance. So I opt for him, but I think both of these horses are going to be very competitive in here. And MC squared, I want to talk about this horse, and Malcolm Franklin will ride MC squared here for Ollie Figgins. They cut him back in distance in the past 2 starts, and he ran well in both of those races, but I think a lot of it had to do with circumstances. I think his performances were circumstantial. His races going 2 turns on the turf are so much better. He can utilize his speed. We saw speed holding well yesterday on the turf. So this is why I'm singling. I'm just hoping for the best with this type of horse.
No, the road's going to go through him, no doubt about it. If he breaks well, he's off, he's clear. Like I say, he can dig in. I mean, he's shown in the past. I mean, he's turned back several challenges. You go back 3 or 4 races, so he's going to be game up on the front, and he takes them a long way. I'm just hoping Unbridled Giant, like I say, last time out it could be Deja-Vu all over again. I see Lightning went to the front. He made a move and kind of flattened from the outside. I'm hoping maybe he can kind of draft and save a little bit, maybe catch him off guard.
And the 4 Helm is going to be a factor in this race too. But Jamie Ness, looking at some statistics, going from allowance to claiming company on turf routes. He's 22%, which is a good statistic, but it's a negative ROI of $1.23. So that just kind of shows you that these horses of his usually are bet, and sometimes they underperform. So maybe this is a horse that you want to use protectively in the pick 6, pick 5, but I thought that this was a horse that had maybe one of the more legitimate chances of beating MC squared. I looked at those statistics, and that's what kind of solidified my opinion in singling him.
Yeah, no, agreed. He's going to have some work to do, especially with his running style. If he maybe has to be forced into a race a little sooner than he maybe wants, because these speeds aren't just going to come back easily to him, I don't think.
All right, we get to race 8, the feature race of the day, a first level allowance. Going a mile and a 16th there onto the main track. And this one was maybe a bit of a head scratcher, I thought.
It was a real head scratcher, and then they got a little bit of relief here, I guess, when the 4 comes out.
And Hey Willie, scratch of the 4, Hey Willie in here, he figured to be part of the pace. So I think that kind of changes the dynamic of the race, and I think benefits a horse like the 9 running in the Vale.
No doubt about it. I actually thought Hey Willie might be a little bit faster early, coming off of some of the 7/8 races. I know it was a mile last time, but he had legitimate speed.
He's fast.
And, running the Vale was going to have to maybe sit just off of him. Now I think he can go ahead and clear. I don't know if anybody can go with him early. He should be able to dictate the last couple times, turf to dirt, going the routes. He's loved it. He's gone ahead and dictated. I think the 2 jumping frac flash is a little bit of a shot. Kieran went ahead, dropped off of a kind of an interesting effort at Timonium, where he was rated inside, angled out, really didn't kick on, dropped the move that he likes to do. But those horses working back well. He positions inside. That race 3 back in the allowance wasn't terrible. So I think he's got a little shot to I think he's going to get a dream trip in here. He might get first run.
So you think that he's going to be able to hold his own against the number 9 horse running in the Vale, or do you think he'll stalk from off?
He's going to stalk. He's not going to go with him, though. He's not
too.
nearly as fast, but Originally, if the other speed would have stayed in, I would have liked it a little bit more. But I think he can hold a good spot the whole way around the racetrack.
I could agree with that. We have a horse that kind of caught my attention, the 10 Tribal Honor for Claudio Gonzalez. And looking at his form, looking at kind of last year and his transition into this year so far, I know he is coming off of a long layoff, but when he was given time off of February, it looked like he was steadily progressing. His Beyer speed figures, went from 50 to 83, and it was a gradual progression. So I know he's going to have to overcome the fact that he hasn't run in a long time, but I do think that this is another horse that the pace scenario, if it does come back to him, it could benefit him. But still, with the scratch of the 4 in here, I do think it's going to be running in the Vales race to lose.
Yeah, the barn. If the barn was doing a little bit better, this is really not their kind of move. But this horse, you can definitely say the last 2 races he before his layoff, any of those are winning races against his field, and he faced much tougher at that point. Catania was doing really good, double whammy. We saw him come back and run like a 90 by running off the screen. So yeah, he's faced tougher company. This is a little bit of a relief for him. The key is the outside post. The barn off of this long left usually doesn't add up, but they're due to pop sooner or later. The Gonzalez barn. Bull Ensign, was a horse I really liked originally. He was going to make a big looping move, but I don't know if things are going to set up to his real liking.
And even the 6 definitely tonight. This is oftentimes a horse that I kind of overlook. He's just been facing, restricted New Jersey bred company up at Monmouth over the summer. But Benny Perkins is sneaky good with these types of horses, and you all oftentimes get value. You get one of our leading riders, Trevor McCarthy, in the saddle. So I've been kicked out of so many pick 5s and pick 6s because of Benny Perkins. So that's not going to happen today because I did use him. I went 4 deep here in this leg of the sequence.
Yeah, holding form comes in here. The numbers fit. Has won an allowance race, albeit it was a state bred race. But the 2-back race, good. Diamond Plays come back to run well. That was a fast race with the winner getting an 81 Beyer.
All right, we get to the 9th and final race. Non-winners, a 3 lifetime claiming event. Mile and an 1/8 on the turf course, and I believe we have a replay of the number 3 Wavy Needle last time out, getting into a little bit of traffic trouble coming down the stretch.
Something she likes to do. She finds trouble. Her middle name is Trouble, I guess. You see it constantly. Traffic, hit gate, steadied again. This horse drafts up, with not really a ton of pace help up front. These pace 12 and 4, but not really contested. Comes right up the rail on her own, within her own self, and just all of a sudden runs into a wall. Unfortunately, this happens a lot in bigger fields, and you see it, and she just can't find a seam. She gets an extra 16th of a mile. You're going to see her dive down inside, steady again, and even through the gallop out, this horse goes on well. But this is a problem. She always seems to find trouble. So with a clear trip, she's the best. No doubt about it. I think she'll win the race. I'm just thinking she's going to find trouble somehow again, maybe come up a little bit short. I like the 2, Juliet's Key. Second time for trainer Andrew Simba. Went back and watched this video at the Meadowlands last time. Wasn't the greatest of fields, but this horse was tracking a duel inside. As soon as it was time to say go, leaving the 3/8, this horse had to steady, put the brakes on, had traffic to the stretch, swung out very wide. I like the way this horse kicked on. I think you're going to get a square price. Has won at the distance, and I think gets first run on the speed, which I think this horse, Steal Away Lady, is going to try to throw the knockout punch. Maybe try something like Highland Reels Rider did down the backside. I think this horse has a big middle move type, and it might really work and be really effective on this course today.
Yeah, just send and hope for the best there for Jay Bernardini. Blinkers do come off there for that runner. I went to the 1 Nor I own, Angel Serpent now riding for Hassan Al-Amri, and it's only a matter of time before Hassan finds the winner's circle with like a $50 horse. I know this horse isn't going to be a $50 horse, but I'm a little discouraged by her race last time out. It wasn't good whatsoever, and that was dropping down to a very low level, 5,000. But that was on the dirt. Her preferred surface is obviously the turf. I think she should be able to get a ground-saving trip from the inside. And you look at the company lines that she has faced. You look at back in October, it was that starter allowance optional claiming condition. Prior to that, she was going against really tough allowance company on the turf. So maybe the drop in class today, going back to the turf, will wake her up.
Yeah, just trying. I mean, she dropped so far back out of it, 2 races back. She was in the same race as Wavy Needle. Didn't finish as well and didn't have the trouble. But you're right, she's due. I mean, look at that race she ran at 200 to 1, back on Preakness weekend. I think she's a definite user in here. But once again, this race has absolutely 0 horses that have any kind of quality speed, it looks like. I got to think the 7's going to have the lead when they turn for home. But Wavy Needle's got to get up to contention like she did last time and avoid traffic. But I think the 2 sits a real good trip in here with Trevor.
Well, maybe I'll throw the 2
Yeah.
in there in the final
You
leg
wanna
of
get
the
beat by
secrets
Trevor
and the
on a
picks.
good price.
We don't
Yeah.
want to get beat by Trevor. I don't want to get beat by your top selection because I respect your opinion. Again, you had success yesterday, so hopefully we
You
can
make one.
have success. One is better than none, right?
Yeah.
Thank you once again for joining us here on Today at the Races. Come out and join us here at Laurel Park for an excellent racing card here this Saturday afternoon. We'll see you in a bit.
All right, good luck.